You know that feeling, right? You're in the shower, or maybe you're stuck in traffic on the commute home, and suddenly, boom!
Oh, yeah.
It hits you, the idea, with a capital I.
The big one.
Exactly, the one that's going to retire your parents. Your heart starts racing, you get that massive hit of dopamine, and, I mean, you can practically see the Forbes cover in your head.
It's a rush.
It really is. It feels less like a random thought and more like a divine revelation.
It's a very powerful feeling, and we actually have a name for it in the industry. We call it the founder's high.
Founder's high.
Yeah. And biologically speaking, it is remarkably similar to the chemical cocktail of falling in love.
Wow.
But, and here's the cold shower to start our deep dive today, that feeling is entirely a biological trap.
Okay, that is a brutal way to start. You're telling me that spark of inspiration, that literal aha moment, is actually a warning sign.
I'm saying it's a filter. That surge of dopamine, it effectively blinds you to reality.
So we're just high on our own supply right from day one.
Pretty much, yeah. Which is why today we are unpacking a massive stack of research on the strategic validation of entrepreneurial hypotheses.
Right.
Basically, how do we take that shower idea and subject it to a rigorous, almost scientific torture test?
To see if it's actually business or just a hallucination.
Exactly.
And this is crucial context for you listening, because looking at our sources, the landscape has shifted massively. We are looking at data benchmarks from 2026, the whole, build it and they will come era, dead and buried.
Completely dead. I mean, think about it. Thanks to AI, writing code and building software has become incredibly cheap.
Yeah, anyone can do it now.
Right. The barrier to entry for building is near zero. You can spin up a functional app in a weekend.
Easily.
But the cost of attention, the cost of acquiring a single paying customer, that has skyrocketed.
So the supply of software is infinite, but human attention is finite.
Precisely. So the mission of this deep dive isn't about how to build fast. It's about knowing what to build.
So you don't waste 3 years of your life on a product nobody actually wants.
Exactly.
And we've got a ton of ground to cover for you today. From the psychology of why we lie to ourselves, to the mom tests, smoke tests, and the brutal, brutal math of unit economics.
It gets real very quickly.
It does. But let's start with that brain chemistry. Why is my own brain actively trying to sabotage my startup?
It really comes down to cognitive biases. When you have that founder's high, your brain immediately engages in confirmation bias.
Yeah.
You stop being a scientist trying to find the truth, and you start being a defense attorney.
Protecting the idea.
Right. You filter out every single piece of negative feedback.
Right.
And you massively overweight the one person who says, oh, yeah, cool idea.
I have definitely been guilty of that. You show the prototype to 5 people, 4 are totally confused, or they point out glaring flaws.
And one is just being polite.
Yes. One is polite, and you walk away thinking, validated, the market is ready.
We all do it. And that is compounded by something called the endowment effect.
Which is what exactly?
It's where we irrationally overvalue things simply because we own them. Because it is your idea, you mentally price it at a premium that the open market just doesn't see.
Oh, like when you try to sell a house you've lived in for 20 years.
Perfect analogy.
You see all the memories and the kids growing up, and the buyer walks in and just sees a leaky roof and ugly wallpaper.
Exactly. You are pricing in the sentiment. They are pricing the reality.
And then the most dangerous one kicks in, which the source material highlights pretty heavily, the sunk cost fallacy.
Yeah, that is the classic gambling trap.
I've already spent 3 months coding this. I can't stop now.
Or I've already told all my friends on LinkedIn I'm launching this. I can't back out.
Right.
And it leads to startups burning through cash for months or even years on a product that honestly should have been killed in week 4.
It's tragic.
There's a concept in our research called the effect heuristic.
Effect heuristic.
Yes. It essentially means making strategic decisions based on your current emotional state.
Your excitements.
Right, rather than actual financial feasibility.
So if our brains are wired to be these optimistic idiots, what's the antidote? How do we bypass our own biology here?
Metacognition. You have to actively think about your thinking.
Okay.
Specifically, the sources point to a mental model called inversion. It was a huge favorite of the late Charlie Munger.
How does inversion work in this context?
Well, instead of asking, how do I make this company huge, you ask, what would cause this venture to go completely bankrupt in 12 months?
Oh, wow. That is a terrifying question to ask when you're super excited about a new project. It feels like you're just popping your own balloon.
It does feel that way.
Yeah.
But it is so necessary because it reveals your riskiest assumptions immediately.
Give me an example.
Okay, so If you can identify the single thing that kills the business, say the assumption is, well, if nobody will pay $50 for this, we die.
Right.
Then you test that assumption first. You don't go build the fancy dashboard or the onboarding flow. You test the willingness to pay today.
You attack the risk, you don't hide from it. Okay, so let's say I've inverted my thinking. I'm appropriately skeptical. Now I need to go talk to actual humans out in the wild. But you mentioned earlier that people lie.
They do. And usually they do it out of kindness.
Which is the worst kind of lie for a founder.
It really is. And this brings us to a cornerstone concept in our source material. It's called the Mom Test by Rob Fitzpatrick.
Mom test?
The core premise is simple. You shouldn't ask your mom if your business idea is good.
Yeah.
Because she loves you, and therefore she will lie to you.
She'll say, oh, that's lovely, dear. You're so smart. I'd definitely buy that.
Precisely. And in the startup world, we call that a false positive.
And false positives are deadly.
They are fatal. You end up basing your entire retirement plan on a polite compliment.
So how do we fix it?
To get the truth, you have to stop talking about your idea entirely.
Wait, hold on. How am I supposed to validate my idea if I'm not allowed to talk about it? That seems completely counterintuitive.
Because you don't validate the solution first, you validate the problem. The Mom Test lays out 3 main rules. Rule number 1, talk about their life, not your idea. The exact moment you pitch your idea, you bias the data.
Because now they're reacting to you, not sharing their actual experience.
Right. So you want to ask questions like, tell me about the last time you faced this specific problem.
Okay, so you're really digging for context.
Yes. And that naturally leads to rule number 2. Ask about the past, not the future.
Never ask, would you use this?
Never. Or, would you pay for this? People are terrible at predicting their future behavior.
That makes sense. We all imagine our best selves.
Exactly. They imagine the version of themselves that goes to the gym 5 days a week, eats salads, and meticulously organizes their finances.
But that's not who they are.
No. But they are very honest about what they actually did last Tuesday.
So instead of me asking, hey, would you buy my new fitness app? I should ask, how many times did you work out last week?
Yes. And if they answer 0, but then they tell you they would totally buy your app.
They are lying to me.
Or they're engaging in wishful thinking. Either way, you cannot bank wishful thinking. It won't pay your server costs.
Wow. Okay, and rule number 3.
Listen more than you talk. You are actively hunting for what the sources call hair on fire problems.
Hair on fire! I love that image. It is so visceral.
It is. Think about it. If your hair is literally on fire and I hand you a brick to put it out,
I'm not going to ask if the brick comes in blue.
Exactly. You don't care if it's ugly. You don't care if it's expensive. You don't ask to see a PDF brochure of the brick's features.
You just want the fire out immediately.
You're looking for problems so acute, so painful, that the customer is already desperately trying to solve them.
Which ties into something from the sources I found fascinating, the workaround indicator.
Oh, that's a crucial one.
It basically says if a customer hasn't already tried to solve the problem, maybe they're using a super messy Excel spreadsheet or some crazy manual hack using Zapier, then it's not a real problem.
Right.
It's just a complaint.
That is the golden rule, especially for B2B validation. If they haven't spent actual money or significant time trying to fix the issue already, they are not going to buy your software.
So a great question to ask in these interviews would be, how much did you pay to solve this last time?
Yes. Digging for money reveals true intent. If the answer is, oh, I haven't paid anything, I just deal with it.
Then your market might be 0.
Exactly.
So we're looking for hard evidence of pain, not just casual interest.
Correct. Interest is incredibly cheap in 2026. Pain is where the actual money is.
Okay, so let's assume we followed the rules. We found a true hair on fire problem. People are using messy spreadsheets. They're frustrated. They're losing weekends to this problem.
Okay.
Now, can I finally build my product?
No, not yet.
Still
no. This is exactly where most founders jump the gun. Now, you transition from problem validation to solution verification.
Okay.
But you still don't write a single line of code. You run a smoke test.
Right. This term comes from engineering, right?
Yeah.
Like turning on a machine just to see if it starts smoking before you bother checking all the individual circuits.
Exactly that. In the startup world, a smoke test is a low-cost, rapid experiment to test actual purchase intent before you build anything.
How do you do that without a product?
The most common version is just a simple landing page. You use a no-code tool like Card or Webflow.
Super easy to set up.
Takes an hour. You put up a hero headline that promises the exact benefit you validated in your interviews, and then you add a magic button.
The magic button, meaning a call to action like sign up or pre-order or get early access.
Yes. And here is where those 2026 benchmarks from our sources get really, really specific.
Let's hear the numbers.
You drive traffic to this landing page. Maybe you allocate $500 for targeted ads.
Okay.
If you cannot get solid interest with $500 of ad spend, you are not going to get it with $50,000.
That is a harsh reality check. So what are the actual conversion numbers we're looking for to know if we pass the test?
You want a click-through rate, a CTR, on that magic button of greater than 15% from cold traffic.
15%.
Yes. That is a strong early signal of product market fit. If it's below 2%,
2%.
if it's below 2%, you need to pivot immediately.
But wait, that's a huge gap. 2% to 15%. Why is 2% considered a total failure? I mean, isn't some interest better than zero interest?
Not really. 2% is statistical noise. It's basically apathy.
Wow.
Remember what you said at the start. Attention is expensive now. If you're hovering at 2%, it means nobody cares enough to even click a button to learn more.
Yeah.
And you absolutely cannot build a sustainable business on apathy.
That makes total sense. But what if I don't want to run ads? Or what if I want to test the actual service delivery, not just the marketing?
You use the concierge MVP.
I love this concept. It's basically fake it till you make it, but done ethically.
Exactly. It's manually performing the service behind the scenes.
So if I'm building, say, an AI travel agent.
You don't build the AI. You don't touch any code. You just have the customer talk to you, maybe via text or email, and you go book the flights and hotels manually yourself.
You are the AI.
You are the AI.
Yeah.
You validate the outcome that the customer is thrilled with the booking and is actually willing to hand over their credit card before you spend $1 million paying engineers to automate it.
It's like you're the little human hiding inside the machine.
That's exactly it. Because think about it. If the human version doesn't work, if they don't want it when a human does it perfectly, the AI version certainly won't work.
Right. If people hate the output when I do it manually, they aren't going to magically like it when an algorithm does it.
Exactly.
And there's one more metric mentioned in the text for slightly later stage validation, the Sean Ellis test.
Yes. This is for when you've actually got something running. Maybe you've transitioned some of those concierge users onto a basic beta product.
Okay, how does it work?
You survey your users and ask one simple question. How would you feel if you could no longer use this product tomorrow?
And you're looking for them to panic.
Basically, the benchmark is 40%. If 40% or more say they would be very disappointed if your product disappeared, you have a winner. You have product market fit.
And if they say they'd just be, somewhat disappointed.
Then you don't have a business yet. You have a nice to have. You do not have a need to have.
Brutal, but necessary. Okay, so we've validated the problem. We've smoke tested the solution. People are clicking the button.
Yep.
Now comes the part of the deep dive that scares a lot of first-time sounders. We have to look at the math. The sources dig deep into unit economics.
This is where dreams go to die, but it is also where real lasting businesses are born.
So walk us through it.
You have to start with market sizing. And a lot of founders do what we call top-down sizing.
Right. They say something like, well, the global logistics market is a $2 trillion industry.
Exactly. And then they say, we only need to capture 1% of that market to be billionaires.
That's the classic 1% fallacy. It always sounds so reasonable in a pitch deck, though. Why is it wrong?
Because you can't just passively get 1% of a global market.
Right.
You have to fight tooth and nail for every single customer. Top down is lazy math. You need to calculate from the bottom up. You need to know your SOM, the serviceable obtainable market.
Let's break down those acronyms because the text gets pretty heavy here. TAM, SAM, SOM.
The easiest way to think about it is like fishing in a pond.
Okay.
TAM is total addressable market. That is every single fish in the entire ocean.
Huge number, but totally unrealistic.
Right. SAM is serviceable available market. That's the specific pond you were driving to go fishing.
Got it.
And SOM, the serviceable obtainable market, is the amount of fish you can actually catch with your current fishing rod and bait in the next 18 to 24 months.
That makes so much sense. So don't pitch the ocean. Pitch the fish you can actually pull into the boat today.
Exactly. But honestly, the much more critical math, and this is vital for anyone listening who wants to actually survive, is the LTV to CAC ratio.
Okay, let's define those. LTV is lifetime value, meaning how much total money a single customer gives you over their time with your company.
Correct.
And CAC is customer acquisition cost. How much money you had to spend on Facebook ads or sales reps just to get them to sign up.
Exactly. Think of your business as a machine. You put $1 in, that's your CAC. and you get money out. That's your LTV.
And what's the benchmark we're aiming for here?
For a sustainable business, you need a 3-to-1 ratio.
Meaning I need to make $3 for every $1 I spend to acquire the customer.
Yes.
But wait, why 3-to-1? Why isn't 1-to-1 enough? If I spend $1 on ads and the customer pays me $1, I'm break even. I'm not losing money.
But you are losing money because you have other costs.
Oh, right.
You have salaries, rent, AWS server costs, taxes. If your ratio is 1-to-1, you are slowly going bankrupt. You are literally lighting money on fire.
Okay, that makes sense.
Now, conversely, if you're operating at a 5-to-1 ratio, you're actually being too conservative.
Really? I would think 5-to-1 is amazing.
It is, but it means you're leaving growth on the table. You should be spending more money on marketing to grow faster because your unit economics are so strong.
That's a great point. And the payback period is crucial here too, especially if you're a bootstrap founder and you don't have $10 million of VC money sitting in the bank.
Absolutely. Payback period is how many months it takes to get that initial CAC back from the customer.
And the 2026 data says.
In this current economic climate, you want to recover that acquisition cost in 8 to 12 months, max.
So if it takes me 2 full years of monthly subscription fees just to make my ad money back on a customer,
you are in deep trouble. You will run out of cash before you ever scale. It's a cash flow death spiral.
Wow.
And here's the real kicker from the research. Do you know what the median CAC for B2B SaaS is right now?
I'm scared to ask.
It's around $270 to $300.
Whoa. So I have to spend $300 just to get one single business to sign up for my software.
On average, yes. So if you are selling a $20 a month product, do the math.
Let's see, 300 divided by 20. That's 15 months. It takes 15 months just to break even on the marketing spend.
Yep. That is a very dangerous zone to be in. You either need to drastically raise your prices or find a much cheaper way to get customers.
This brings us to maybe the most practically useful tool in this entire stack. We talked about inversion earlier, thinking about failure. There is a formal team exercise for this called the pre-mortem.
I absolutely love the pre-mortem. Look, most corporate teams do a post-mortem.
Right, analyzing why a project failed after it's already dead and everyone's upset.
Exactly. A pre-mortem happens before you even write the first line of code. You gather the whole team in a room, you fast forward 6 months into the future, and you say, okay, everyone, the project has completely failed. It is an unmitigated disaster. We are shutting the company down today. Work backward and tell me exactly why it happened.
It sounds kind of depressing, honestly. Doesn't that just destroy the team's morale before you even start?
It's actually the exact opposite. It liberates people.
How so?
Think about a normal planning meeting. Nobody wants to be the negative one. You don't want to be the guy pouring cold water on the CEO's brilliant idea.
Right, you want to be a team player.
But in a pre-mortem, you are explicitly required to be the naysayer. It gamifies skepticism.
So it actually makes it psychologically safe for people to speak up about their doubts.
Exactly. Suddenly you'll hear things like, well, we failed because the team fell apart over equity splits, or we failed because the unit economics we just talked about never worked out.
Or we failed because we built a bunch of features nobody actually asked for.
Yes, it brings all the elephants in the room right out into the open.
That is brilliant.
And once you list all those potential causes of death, whether it's economic failure, team failure, or just market indifference, you use that list to set your kill criteria.
Kill criteria? That sounds intense. What is that?
It's your ultimate safety net against the sunk cost fallacy. You set strict, objective rules right now while you are rational and unemotional.
Give me an example of a kill criteria.
We write down, if we do not get 3 signed letters of intent after 20 sales meetings, we kill the idea, period.
Or if our customer acquisition cost stays higher than $50 for our $20 product, we stop.
Exactly. You write it down, you sign it, and you stick to it.
Because you know that in the heat of the moment, when you've been grinding for 6 months and you're exhausted and stressed out, you will always find an excuse to keep going.
Always. You'll say, oh, the market just needs a little more time to understand us. Or, oh, we just need to launch this one more feature, and then they'll buy.
Kill criteria keeps you honest. It forces you to respect the data over your own ego.
It's basically a legally binding contract with your future self to not be stupid.
I love that. So we also have a final section here on the investor's lens. And look, even if you are totally bootstrapping and never plan to raise venture capital, it is incredibly useful to see what VCs considered to be massive red flags.
No, absolutely. VCs are basically just pattern matching machines.
They see thousands of pitches every single year.
Exactly. And because of that, they can spot the difference between a passionate hobbyist and a real founder in about 30 seconds.
So what are they looking for? What's a red flag?
One of the biggest red flags mentioned in the sources is when a founder says the phrase, "We have no competition."
But wait, that sounds amazing. A blue ocean, a totally wide open market. Why is that bad?
Because it usually means one of two things. Either one, you just haven't done your research properly.
Which makes you look incompetent.
Right. Or two, and this is much more common, there is no competition because there's no market there. If there is a real problem worth solving, someone is currently trying to solve it. Even if the competition is just a messy Excel spreadsheet or a pen and a clipboard, you have to acknowledge what you are replacing.
Because if literally nobody is trying to solve it, it's probably not a real problem.
Precisely. Another huge red flag is what VCs call solution obsession.
Is that when the founder just talks endlessly about the product's features?
Yes. If you spend 20 minutes of your pitch talking about your cutting-edge AI architecture and only 2 minutes talking about the customer's actual pain point, you are a hobbyist, not a CEO.
VCs invest in big problems, not just cool solutions.
Exactly.
What about the team itself? The sources mention cap table issues as a warning sign.
This is a really subtle but important one. If a VC looks at your cap table and sees two co-founders with an exact 50-50 equity split, that is often a yellow flag.
Really? I would have thought 50-50 is the most fair way to do it. It shows an equal partnership.
It looks fair on paper. But to an investor, it often suggests that the founders are actively avoiding hard conversations.
Oh, because it's the path of least resistance.
Right. What happens when you inevitably disagree on a massive company decision? Who breaks the tie? It suggests you haven't really valued each person's unique contributions properly.
That is fascinating. But the sources say the absolute biggest red flag of all is a lack of founder market fit.
Yes.
Now, founder market fit, is that different from product market fit?
Very different. Product market fit asks the question, does the market desperately want this product?
Right.
Founder market fit asks, are you specifically the right person to build it?
Do you have an unfair advantage?
Exactly. Did you work deep in this specific industry for 10 years? Do you know all the secret handshakes and the regulatory hurdles?
So if I'm, say, a music major straight out of college trying to build a complex medical device.
That is incredibly weak founder market fit. A VC is going to look at you and think, why would I bet millions on you instead of a team of actual doctors who feel this pain every day?
The sources use a great term here, idea mazers.
Yes, the best founders are idea mazers. They've been navigating the maze of their specific industry for years. They already know exactly where the dead ends are. They know exactly why previous attempts by other startups failed.
They aren't starting from scratch.
Right.
Man, it is a lot to take in. We have gone from the biology of dopamine spikes all the way to strict kill criteria and cap table dynamics. But the overarching theme of this whole deep dive really seems to be a fundamental shift in mindset.
It is entirely a mindset shift. It's about reframing how we define success.
Right.
In 2026, success isn't just about launching the next unicorn. True success is measured by how incredibly fast you can invalidate a bad idea.
And that is a profound shift for a lot of people.
Yeah.
We usually think of invalidating our idea as a failure. We take it personally.
But think about the alternative.
Yeah.
If you use a smoke test and you kill a bad idea in week 4 because nobody clicked the magic button, that is a massive victory.
Because you just saved yourself 2 years of grinding on a business that was literally never going to work.
Exactly. You saved your savings account, you saved your reputation, and most importantly, you saved your time.
So the goal isn't to prove that you're right. The goal is to find the truth.
We call it having strong opinions, loosely held. You have to be passionate enough to start the journey, but you must be dispassionate enough to look at the cold, hard data and say, you know what? I was wrong.
Because the market is the ultimate arbiter of truth. Your job is to listen to it, not argue with it.
Exactly.
But, thinking about all this, it leads me to something that wasn't explicitly in the sources, but I think it's the most terrifying scenario of all. We've talked a lot about failing fast, but what if you don't fail fast and you don't succeed either?
The zombie startup.
Yes. You didn't set aggressive enough kill criteria. So your product makes just enough money to not go bankrupt, but it's not growing. And suddenly, you are trapped in a mediocre company for a decade. That opportunity cost, losing 10 years of your prime earning potential to a zombie idea, that is so much worse than just failing in week 4.
It's the ultimate trap. And it's exactly why this validation framework is so critical.
So for everyone listening who has that brilliant light bulb moment idea currently sitting in a notebook somewhere on your desk,
Don't build it. Not yet.
take it through the ringer, subject it to a brutal pre-mortem today. Ask yourself, if this totally fails in 6 months, why did it happen?
And then go out and try to find a stranger, definitely not your mom, who is willing to actually open their wallet to solve that problem right now.
And if they don't, celebrate the invalidation, be thrilled that you found out early, and move on to the next idea, because there is always another idea. Thanks for diving deep with us today. Hopefully we just saved you a few years of your life.
Happy validating.